Hey everybody, welcome to Chapter 3, Contamination, Food Allergens, and Foodborne Illness. So in this, we're going to talk about food allergies, where they come from, and their common symptoms, methods of preventing allergic reactions, physical and chemical contaminants, and how to prevent them, and points in the operation where food is at risk from deliberate contamination is when you have someone you have wronged, or they think you have wronged them, and they want to mess with your food to get people sick. So what are physical contaminants? Physical contaminants are items in food that you will consume that should not be in that food. So there are outsourced um, items and natural occurring. So some objects can be metal shavings from cans, like the photo, wood, fingernails, fingernail polish, earrings, staples, bandages, glass, jewelry, dirt, pieces of a glove, a finger caught, plastic, cardboard, pieces from a rubber spatula that gets shaved off, all of that. And then there's naturally occurring objects such as fruit pits and bones. So if you think of a cherry or an olive, those have pits in them. They are usually pitted when you buy those things. However, sometimes even they have been pitted, there might still be pits in them by accident. So you always want to make sure to remove them. And then bones in fish, we're not talking about bones like fried chicken where you're eating it off the bone, where you know there's bones. It is chicken tenders, small pieces of any type of meat that has been deboned, which means the bone has been taken out. It can be the fish bones in a fillet of fish that are very, very thin and very flexible. Even though they're very small, they can still hurt you if you ingest them. Some symptoms of eating something that's not food is you have bleeding and pain as in your esophagus and down to your stomach, and they can be mild to fatal injuries. So you could have cuts in your mouth, on your tongue. You could have dental damage by biting down on something hard and you don't know it's hard because it's supposed to be soft. And you could choke. So a good prevention method is purchase food from approved reputable suppliers. Inspect all the food when you receive it, and take steps to prevent physical contamination, including good personal hygiene. So short fingernails, no polish, no gems on them, preferably no earrings, but stud earrings. So chemical contaminants are cleaners, sanitizer, polishes, machine lubricants, and pesticides. They can also be deodorizers, any first aid products, health and beauty products as well. So cleaners, sanitizers, polishes, all of that. We use that in the kitchen to make sure everything is clean. As the picture shows, you can see someone is spraying a blue liquid on the stainless steel tabletop. However, none of that food is covered. So whatever that person is spraying is getting into the food, and depending on what it is, can seriously harm someone. Health and beauty products. In the industry and in the kitchen, you should not put lotion on or body perfume or anything like that before you go into the kitchen. If you use it, you have to make sure it's dried completely because when you're in the kitchen, you don't want to smell someone's strawberry scented body lotion. You want to be able to smell the food. The same thing goes for hand sanitizers. As long as you're using it and you dry your hands or it air dries, you're fine. But if that hand sanitizer is still wet and you put your hand in food, that is now chemically contaminated and it has to be thrown away. The second thing is certain types of kitchen and equipment. So certain types of pans can be made with certain metals that react with different types of food. So there's a lot of toxic metal items that are made from pewter because there's lead in it, copper, zinc, and some types of painted pottery. If you put something very acidic like tomato juice in a pewter pitcher, the acidity from the tomato juice interacts with the metal, creating a toxin and a poison, which is if you consume it, you can get very sick. Symptoms they vary depending on the chemical consumed. Most illnesses occur within very short time frames, so within minutes. Vomiting and diarrhea are usually typical. So if you have been suspected of consuming a chemical, you should call the emergency number in your area, so 911, and call poison control. They will tell you, or they will ask you what chemical you consumed and what you should do to prevent it. Some people will tell you to drink water. Some people will tell you not to eat anything. Some of them might tell you to throw up. So depending on what they tell you to do is what you should do. All right. Prevention, use chemicals approved for the food service operation only. Purchase chemicals from that same approved reputable supplier that you buy food from. Store all chemicals away from food prep areas and service areas. So in our kitchen, it's a separate closet. All my laundry detergent is in the laundry room, and so this helps to prevent any type of cross-contamination. And never store chemicals above any food or food contact surfaces, because if that chemical drips onto the food, you do not know it, and you serve it, someone can get very sick. Use chemicals for their intended purpose only, and make sure you follow the directions. Only handle food with equipment and utensils approved for food service use only. Make sure you read the directions on the manufacturer's labels in the original containers. And then follow any local regulatory requirements when throwing out chemicals or containers. So you want to prevent the deliberate contamination of food, because some people out there might want to mess up your business and make you go bankrupt or out of business. So they could be terrorists or activists, disgruntled current or former employees, vendors, and competitors. So a terrorist or activist group, there's one that's very well known in the culinary industry, is PETA, which is People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. They are vegans. They want everybody to be a vegan. So they will go to restaurants and, for the lack of a better word, cause a fuss, destroy food, try to get hired, and then destroy the food from the inside, and any of that. The FDA, so the Food and Drug Administration, has a defense tool called ALERT, A-L-E-R-T. A good defense food program should address the points in your operation where food is at risk. Deliveries, storing. The program pretty much makes you have safe food at all times. So ALERT, what does it stand for? So assure, look, employees, reports, and threats. So assure, make sure those products received are from safe sources. Your vendor, your food vendor, a grocery store, a bulk wholesale supplier, not from someone's cousin that says, I can get you a good deal on something because it's cheaper. That's a unsafe, unapproved source. Look, monitor the security of the products in the facility. Have cameras in the kitchen, not to spy on your employees, but to make sure everything is in order. And then that actually moves on to employees to know who is in your facility at all times. You do not want someone who does not work there or has gotten fired in your kitchen. You need to know who is on schedule and who should be in there at all times. Reports, keep information related to food defense accessible, so PO logs, food temp logs, corrective action logs, all of those you should keep on file. And then threat is develop a plan for responding to suspicious activity or a threat to the operation. If someone calls your business saying there's a bomb or anything like that, you need to have certain questions next to the phone to ask to get as much information as you possibly can from that person calling. What are food allergies or food allergen? So a food allergen is a protein in a food or an ingredient to which some people are sensitive to. These proteins do occur naturally. They are in foods all the time. And then when enough of that allergen is eaten, an allergic reaction can occur. So depending on how allergic you are to something is how long you tolerate it. If you're severely allergic, there are some people that cannot be even in the same room as their allergen. And then there's others who can cook it, be in the kitchen with it in the oven, they just can't consume it. So what are some allergy symptoms? So nausea, wheezing or shortness of breath, hives or itchy rashes, which is shown in the picture, swelling in various parts of the body, which usually includes the face, eyes, hands or feet, and lips. You can have vomiting or diarrhea, or you could have both. You could have very abdominal discomfort, and you can have an itchy throat. You could have some, or you could have all. Allergic reactions, these symptoms can become serious very, very quickly. And if you have a severe reaction, it's usually called anaphylaxis and can lead to death if it's not treated quickly. Usually, if someone is severely allergic to a protein, they're carrying around something called an EpiPen, and that has to be injected into their outer thigh. This gives them enough epinephrine to get them to the hospital, where the hospital staff can then help them. So, in this slide, it says the big 8 allergens, which there are still these 8. However, it has been moved up to 9. So the original 8 are milk and dairy products, soy, eggs, wheat, fish, crustacean shellfish, peanuts, and tree nuts. Peanuts and tree nuts are not the same. Peanuts are a legume, which is a bean, and then tree nuts are actual nuts. Some people are allergic to eggs, chicken eggs, but they can still eat duck eggs. So it all depends on what protein that you are allergic to. The 9th one that is new is sesame. That is the newest 9th one. So a lot of people are getting sick for that. So preventing allergic reactions. There's a lot of things that you can do as a service staff member and a kitchen staff member. So we're going to take a look at the service staff, which means servers, SAs, expo line workers, hostesses, and bussers. So what can these people do to help prevent contamination or cross contact? Describe menu items in preparation to the guests. Identify any allergens in them. Suggest menu items that do not have the allergen. Clearly identify the guest's special order to the kitchen staff and other service staff around you. And you as a server should directly deliver that food separately to prevent any type of cross contact. And cross contact means when one food touches another food. So if you had a gluten-free burger bun that touches a regular burger bun, that gluten-free burger bun has been in cross contact with the regular one and can no longer be consumed by someone who is gluten-free, because if it has any traces of the protein from wheat, it can get someone sick. Kitchen staff, avoid cross contact at all costs. Do not cook different types of food in the same fryer, and don't put food on surfaces that have been touched by allergens. In the picture, you can see there's shellfish and chicken in the same fryer. That would be a no-no. You'd want fish in one, chicken in another. So like I have here, for example, cooking different types of food in the same fryer oil can cause contact. In the photo on the slide, shrimp allergens could be transferred to the chicken being fried in the same oil. It's not touching, but it's in the same oil. Another one is putting chocolate chip cookies on the same parchment paper that was used for peanut butter cookies. That can transfer the peanut allergens to the chocolate chip cookie. So if you're allergic to peanuts, you cannot eat those chocolate chips. And if no one knows what it is, then someone's going to eat it and someone's going to get very sick. Food labels. Food labels are very important. Federal laws require manufactured products containing one or more of the big 8 items to clearly label them or clearly bold them on the back of the label. So if you can see in the picture, you can see all of the ingredients, and then on the very bottom, in bold, in capitalized letters, contains wheat. So this means it has wheat in it. Sometimes it might say possibly contains this allergen, which means it could have it, it could not have it. So if you're severely allergic to it, you should not eat it. And you should always read labels. How to avoid cross contact. It's very easy. So number 1, you want to check recipes and ingredient labels to confirm that the allergen is not present. You want to wash, rinse, and sanitize cookware, utensils, and equipment before and after use. Make sure the allergen doesn't touch anything for the customers with food allergies. Wash your hands and change gloves before prepping food. Use separate fryers and cooking oils for guests with food allergies. And then look for label food package for on-site retail sale. So a lot of times you can have different set of cooking utensils. So in this picture you see this light lilac color. That is the industry's color for food allergens. So anything in that can be used for a food allergy. And that is it.